You might have heard of a little thing called the Oscars. In case you're out of the loop, they're a celebration of the massive amount of money some movie studios invest in for your consideration campaigns in order to slap a sticker on their movie posters that tell the audience, hey, this movie earned 5 bald guy golden statues, so that means it's worth your money! Although they're actually gold-plated bronze statues.
What? Is this funny?
The Game Awards, however, are much different. For starters, the statuette here doesn't have any gold plating. So anyway, they announced the nominees for this year's ceremony. Most of them are there to please publishers and let studios pat on each other's back for making a game that kinda works on release. The only awards that kind of avoid the grimy and greedy industry pressure are the ones for indie games. Except that one time they decided to nominate a game made by a multi-million-dollar company, but hey, don't think too hard about it.
You know, independent can mean different things to different people.
Let's instead bask in the glory of all these games, some of the most unique and fun— Hey, Blacky Square, what the hell are you doing here? Animal Well was an absolute gem. Balatro is one of the best card games out there, and I haven't played Manor Lords, but other creators I like say that it's very good, so I think that's enough to form a very strong opinion about it. Well, let's see the other awards. Best Indie in general.
Balatro.
Best Mobile Game.
Balatro.
Best Game Direction.
Balatro.
Best Game?
Balatro.
Okay, what the hell is going on? Why is this Poker Redux game being nominated for everything?
Oh, here he is, the contrarian Romanov is about to tell us Balatro is actually bad.
Well, no, I can think of worse ways to introduce kids to severe gambling addiction. I really like Balatro. It's a roguelite that combines two of my favorite things: poker and not having to make friends to actually play poker with. It's challenging and addicting, and I've been recommending it to enough people. I think I deserve at least 0.0000005% of its total revenue. Don't worry, I accept cash. By all accounts, Balatro's gameplay is flawless, and that's why after 10 hours I took it out of my Switch and forgot its existence completely. I thought more about Balatro after its nomination than I did when I actually played it. The game is fun and represents a perfect marriage between simplicity and depth in terms of gameplay mechanics. Balatro is perfect, and it's cheating. To understand what I mean here, we need to go back.
You've got a great butt.
No, not here. We're almost there. Here we are. The first game ever made. 2 sticks bouncing a ball. No, sorry, I misread. This game is called Pong, and that title meant everything. Even as far back as 1972, game designers understood that in order for a game to work, context needs to be established. Just through its title, Pong is no longer about moving a stick. You're challenging a friend at a match of ping pong. This isn't limited to video games, obviously. Monopoly uses fake money as points because money is what you earn when you build a greedy business whose aim is destroying the market by devouring your competition. And hey, what's this picture of Phil Spencer doing here? This other game isn't called Furry Balls Moving Towards You. It's called Space Invaders, and the arcade machine was decorated with these evocative images of otherworldly creatures. Suddenly, you're no longer just hitting a bunch of pixels to earn meaningless points. You're defeating the aliens that are trying to invade Earth. A well-defined, contextualized goal makes the player's action meaningful on an emotional level. Reaching the end of a stage in Super Mario has an obvious gameplay meaning to us. That's how you unlock the next level where you'll find greater challenges. On an emotional level, however, grabbing that flagpole means exploring new parts of this fantasy kingdom and getting one step closer to your ultimate goal of saving the princess. Every time time someone says, Mario doesn't have a story, they're ignoring the fact you don't need a fleshed out plot in order to create a narrative. Having a purpose motivates us. Exploring new, strange worlds is the reward for your progress, and unlocking new powers that tie to the art direction makes that world consistent. Some games don't even need a main objective. Minecraft just drops you in the middle of nowhere without setting up any narrative, while giving you enough tools to create your own goal. It prods your imagination by creating a context for your actions. Even Tetris has been revisited in 100 different ways by adding competitive modes or by being turned into some kind of rhythm puzzle thing. One time they even put a story mode which was
Our son has grown old.
rubbish. But it goes to show that we as a species long for immersive experiences. We want something that creates a deeper connection with the games we play. Something that goes beyond keep winning to get a bigger score. Flash forward to Balatro, a game where you keep winning just to get a bigger score. Okay, that's a bit mean, but let's face it, the only context Balatro provides is just... it's poker. But weird. It's very challenging and beating around feels like a real accomplishment, but I don't feel anything. Other games have to do some serious legwork to create a fun gameplay loop that can also reinforce the player's connection with the game world and its characters. Getting to the end of Hades wasn't rewarding just because I killed lots of monsters. I escaped the underworld, man! I defeated Hades himself and got to see my long-lost mummy! That's an experience, I'd say. I have a very easy way to gauge how much someone liked a game. I ask them, can you tell me a story about your playthrough? Not the story of the game, just one moment that they remember. If someone asked me that about Metal Gear Solid 3, I would most probably recall the first time I discovered you could tranquilize venomous snakes and throw them at other soldiers to kill them, or discovering you can surf demons in Devil May Cry 3 just like Dante does in the intro cutscene. Now let me ask you, can you tell me a story about Balatro that isn't just I once got a big multiplier that increased my score by a lot? The vivid art direction might be pleasant, and the amazing sound design can make the simple act of playing your hand genuinely pop. But it never leads to a real climax. The blind you need to beat becomes increasingly higher. Choosing which cards to discard can make or break your run, but I never got my catharsis. When I beat my first run, I expected the Joker to break the fourth wall and turn the whole thing upside down. But that never happened. You fight bosses every couple of rounds, but they are just gameplay modifiers. An abstract tag. Let's take a look at another card game for comparison.
What the f?
Inscription is a roguelite card game where you fight against a serial killer who's gonna murder you if you lose even once. Is its gameplay as good as Balatro? No, but I remember that game vividly, and that's without even considering how crazy it gets from the half point through. I had a chat with one of my cards, then the killer wore a creepy mask and oh no, my card was eaten! So many unpredictable things happen, but maybe it's an unfair comparison. Inscription has a lot of story, so I can't really compare it to Balatro. How about Buckshot Roulette? It's Russian roulette, but weird. See what I did there? The game is set in a creepy room that makes Metro games look cozy by comparison. There's music coming from the nightclub right outside, but in this tiny space, tension rises immediately. This creepy dude gives me a shotgun. We've got cigarettes, beer, and handcuffs if we want to get kinky. But if I lose, I'm blowing my brains out. But if I win, I get out of there with a big bag full of cash. I'm presented with real stakes, I have hints at what kind of world this is, and I know what I'm risking my life for, even if it's a cynically bleak predicament to be put into. In Balatro, I don't even get to see all the cash I won at the end of a run. Maybe I'm not even playing poker for money, but to escape purgatory? Is that what the bosses are? Just representations of my past scenes? No, I'm not coming up with some bullshit game theory here. I'm just trying to show that it's always possible to create a context. But Balatro never does that. So the question still lingers. Why is Balatro nominated for Game of the Year? Should Balatro be nominated for Game of the Year? My videos are usually just me telling people they are wrong and that only my opinion is correct. This time, I don't know. In a way, a purely gameplay-focused product built with such expertise is a rare gem, but I don't think it gets to be the bestest thing that graced my tiny strained eyes. A solid and fun gameplay is a necessary but not sufficient condition required to be awarded a title that should be reserved for games that truly push the medium in a tangible way. For me, it doesn't compare to the sense of sheer marvel I could get from Animal Well. Maybe I'm wrong, and a perfectly designed gameplay loop is enough. Maybe the fact Balatro made me think so much about what makes a game great is on its own worth a nomination. Well, if not for that, it definitely deserves it for making thousands of man-children angry because their favorite anime sex doll game didn't get the same nomination.
I'd like to avoid getting wet.